Mark, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Sorry, we are a little behind here. It's just we had a little difficulties earlier with the connections, and then we had the little boo-boo with the New York City thing. We're trying to make it something nice, and we end up messing it up, but who cares? The game goes on. So, Mark, just for everybody to know, Mark is not the one here. It was a last-minute email. I wanted to have Mark here and to talk a little bit about NYSOA and all the goodies that we're doing with NYSOA. So, Mark, the mic is all yours. Go ahead.
Great, thank you, Richard. First of all, I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you guys. My name is Mark Lawrence. I'm the Vice President of NYSOA nationally, and it's my job on the NYSOA board to reach out to the chapters and across the country and to the referees and just do that networking, outreach, training, and get feedback from everybody to make sure that we're delivering what needs to be delivered and what you want to deliver to make you guys the best refs you can in the college game. With that, I would just, if you're not unaware, I'm sure you probably all are aware, but recently just entered just a stimulus package that we're calling it, but it's a video quiz and training. It's part of some of the online stuff we're going to be rolling out. That stimulus has a YouTube channel for NYSOA. You go to the NYSOA YouTube channel, and then weekly there's a quiz, a video quiz, answer questions, and based on how you score, you'll be put into drawings for prizes, cash prizes, based on your score on a weekly basis. So I would encourage you to go to that NYSOA YouTube channel, which you can find on the NYSOA website, and do that. Encouraged to work with Ryan and the NCAA, ECSR, and other signers. That partnership and working with those groups is important, and we're pushing that as much as possible. With the current COVID-19 situation, we're going to continue. We're looking at this as an opportunity to roll out and find best practices and find best technologies for doing online presentations, online learning, and online training. Not just for this year, but for years in the future where we can't reach limited or too expensive. We want to make sure we reach those best practices and find those best practices for our organization. So if you know of any, either this platform or other platforms that would be helpful, I encourage you to reach out to us and let us know. We're constantly testing out and trying new online platforms for training, which is what we consider our main mission, is education and training within the college game. We also have a quick initiative with we're pushing women in soccer this year, and for 2021 and 2022 as well. And with that, we've hired Tori Penzo as our managing director. You'll see her face actually on those YouTube videos, and those videos are coming from members of our team. But Mark Cahan's doing a lot of work with that, and Lance and Hinksman is also doing a lot of work with that. So you can thank those guys for the quality of the content and the videos. Otherwise, I just encourage everyone to, if you have any questions or if you have any concerns, reach out to the board. Gary Huber, myself, Tori, Lance, anyone that you find on the NYSOA website, through your chapters or individually, we are constantly looking for feedback to deliver to you what we want to, or what you want. So that's really what, I don't want to take up too much time. That's it. Richard, I appreciate it. So just reach out if you guys have any questions or any concerns so we can get those resolved.
All right, great. And we are going to publish the contact information right after Brian, and just go to NYSOA.com. I keep telling everybody, go to NYSOA.com.
Yep, everyone's email, everyone on the board, their email is on the NYSOA.com webpage. And you can contact me. I think I'm the only one on the board who doesn't have a NYSOA email address. I'm resistant But my email is mplawrence@gmail.com. But I think that they're forcing me to get a NISOA email as well. So that's the best way to do it, is just through email, and then we can work with your concerns.
But in a few months, you're going to get your own email anyways, president@NISOA.com.
Right, so right, yeah. So yeah, I am the president-elect for 2021 and 2022. So coming up that next term, I will be the president as well. And if you're interested too in a leadership position, it's also something we're actively recruiting for, and actively looking for different leadership positions for projects that we're rolling out, and people to lead in that project management or in just execution of the project, or just be on the panel for ideas and feedback. That kind of association with the entire group is really helpful to getting the work done.
And NISOA is actually heading in the right direction under the leadership of President Hoover, and now and Mark as the VP, and as an elected president, and everybody else from Lance Story and everyone else. They're doing an excellent job. They actually bring in the association to the next level. We actually are looking at the future, and we really appreciate it. So on behalf of RWISOA, and I know I'm saying it in behalf of the entire NISOA chapters. Thank you guys for what you're doing. It's been very good, and I know we're heading to the right direction. So we really appreciate that.
Great, thanks, Richard.
All right, so that was Mark Lawrence, VP, NISOA, and let's move on to the next presenter, which is Ryan, and let's see if we have Ryan. Ryan, do we have you?
Hey, Richard, can you hear me?
We can hear you well, loud and clear. So guess what? I'm going to give you the power, so I can do some stuff in the background here. So you're going to be giving us the rules interpretation, the NCAA rule changes. They just came out the 21st, 3 days ago, and we're really happy to have you here, and we're really happy you select us to be the first one to share those changes with, and we're gonna share it with a few hundred referees from around the country. So the floor is all yours. I'm giving you power just about now. I believe you have the power.
Okay. Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Bear with me here one second, please. All right. Thanks, Richard. So you should be able to see the PowerPoint now, correct?
Everybody sees the PowerPoint, correct?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Very good. Well, hey, good evening, everyone. It's really great to be here tonight. I think, the most important thing I'll say tonight, though, is that I just hope that all of you all are healthy, in good spirits. I really wish you all the best during these unprecedented times that everyone is going through, especially all of you all in the New York area and the Northeast. I don't think anyone would ever have thought that we would be in this global pandemic. So that is just wanted to start off on that, because we'll put everything else aside. That should be number one for all of us. And Richard, just a shout out to you. I think these webinars are just fantastic. What a great way for learning, for all of us to keep our kind of soccer minds sharp during this period of time when we're not on the field. I signed up for one of these a few weeks ago, and then because I wanted to hear Dr. Joe and Robert speaking, and then Richard all of a sudden emailed me and said, could I come on to this one? So it's great to be here with everyone. Yeah, these rules are kind of hot off the press. You all are the first group to kind of get any sort of presentation on them. They were approved just this past Tuesday. So I want to just take a little bit of time and go through the rules, with you, the rule changes, and we'll come back then and see if there's any questions at the end. So a lot of rule changes this year. But however, with that being said, most of the changes are just coming into line with the IFAB interpretation. So there's a few that are administrative in nature, just toward the NCAA, and that's where I will start off on. The first one here is electronic communication devices for coaches will be legal now starting. So any members of the coaching staff, they may communicate with each other during the game with electronic devices. This is more or less an administrative type rule. I don't think there'll be much for us to do as officials on the field. This will be more on the back end. The only time I think we could see this coming into play on the field is if some report is needed after the fact, if there may have been some illegal use of these with a coach who would have been under suspension or something like that. But for the most part, we shouldn't have any issues or anything here that we really need to focus on to a high level of degree. Secondly, we've had it changed to video review. We've added a fifth opportunity, a fifth situation where video review is permitted. And we're now permitting video review in a scenario where the timing, the game clock is going to need to be corrected. That obviously is a game critical event, since in the collegiate game, the time on the clock is the official time. And, in the past, we've all been in situations where the timekeeper forgets to stop it or doesn't restart it, or, we have a coach, somebody yelling at us, ref, look at the clock, and we look up and it's not running, all those sort of situations. So we just wanted to give you all the opportunity that when we have a video review available, that it should be allowed to be used if we have any timing issues that need to be corrected. Okay, the third rule change for this year, again, more or less on the administrative side. So this for all of us will be more so for just information purposes, but protests going forward will only be allowed in two specific situations. One will be player identification or misidentification, and then secondly will be illegal participation by a suspended student athlete, coach, or team personnel. This has become, an issue over the past few years where there's been many protests. The vast majority, last year we had about 60 some, almost 70 protests, and the vast majority of those were based on referee judgment. And so while it was good to allow that in years past, it just became quite a bit of a workload, quite a bit of a burden, and just more or less became denial of many protests due to referee judgment. So we don't want to go down the road of re-refereeing games. That would take, probably a panel working a part-time job during the fall to review any possible protests and red cards and all that. So we're definitely not going to go that route. So we just decided to only limit protests to these two particular situations. Okay. The drop ball, again, this is one to align with IFAB. And basically, if the referee stops play for an injury, then the drop ball is given to the team that had possession of the ball, and that is uncontested. So this is one of the changes here that will align us with FIFA. For most of us, we've been officiating under these rules now that I'm getting into since last fall. And for those of you that are more focused on the collegiate game now, where you're not doing much other than during the college season, then I'm sure you have all been watching a lot of games over the fall and as well. So we're just aligning here, nothing major at this point. Also, if the ball hits the referee and changes possession, or an attack is started, then we also will have a drop ball, an uncontested drop ball to the team that had possession. With everyone else, all the other players will remaining 5 yards away from it. And just the rationale here, as I mentioned, just to align us with FIFA, the current drop ball procedure, or the way that it has been, has just been unsatisfactory and, many different levels. Two players contesting for it. It's just become a delay of the game in many regards. So this is what we're changing to, just to align here. I'll show you just a quick video clip as an example from a spring college game that happened a few months ago. We see here the ball hits the referee, and then an attack occurs. So we will stop the game, and we will have an uncontested drop ball to the team that had possession at the point where the referee was hit with the ball there. All right, goal kick. The ball is in play once the kick is taken. It can be played before leaving the penalty area. Players of both teams, players of the opposing team shall remain outside the penalty area until the ball is kicked. And again, this is just to align us with FIFA, so as I said, the ball does not have to leave the penalty area. The ball is in play just as soon as it's kicked. And again, this will lead us to a more dynamic and quicker restarts, and hopefully reduce the lost time that we have at times during the game. Just a video here of this. Goal kick comes up. And you'll see here the goalkeeper will take the goal kick and play by teammate before it leaves the penalty area. And now this will get the game moving much faster. Okay, defending team free kicks in their own penalty area. So we now will allow the team that has a free kick inside their own defensive penalty area to take the free kick and play the ball, and the ball does not have to leave the penalty area, just like we just saw with the goal kick. The stipulation here is that the attacking team has to be either 10 yards away, or they have to be outside of the penalty area, or in a scenario of a quick free kick by a defender, the attacker must not interfere with the restart of play. And you can see from this video clip example that I'm showing you on the screen right now, again, the free kick restart is taken quickly, and there's no delay in the restart of the game. And even though you saw in this example the attacker was still inside of the penalty area, there was no interference, so we would allow play to continue. Okay, I'll talk about the rule change regarding the defensive wall. When there's a free kick and there are 3 or more defenders in the wall, the attackers must be at least 1 yard away, either to the front, the side, or behind. And the whole idea here is just to eliminate the pushing and shoving that we would often see that would occur inside of the wall. If you think about it, there's really no legitimate reason for players from the attacking team to be in the wall other than just to cause confrontation and to cause us, game management problems or potential friction, which wastes time. So we're aligning with IFAB on this one. I'll show you just a slide here. As you can see, the attacker, there are 4 defenders in the wall, so we have more than 3, and this attacker is not permitted in this space. And here's an example of what is permitted. You can see the attacker here is 1 yard away, and that is permissible now. Okay, I'll move on to handball. So this should be a nice and easy topic for everyone. Most of the time, right? But as we all know, handball has been one of the more confusing topics as of years lately. So the attempt here is just to make handling more clear for everyone. As a referee now, going forward, we don't have to get into a player's mind anymore to determine deliberate versus accidental. We're taking intent out of this. So for tonight's time here. I'll focus on the rule change part tonight because I believe in a couple of weeks, Richard was telling me there will be a live session that will be focused on more the practical side of decision making on what is and what is not a handball, where we talk about the different considerations, whether they be, you know, ball to hand, unnaturally bigger, you know, arm above the shoulder, support arm, and all that sort of stuff. So tonight, I'll just focus on the rule change, which basically says that when an attacking situation, if the ball makes contact with the attacking player and either a goal is scored or a goal scoring opportunity is created, a handball will be called. It's pretty simple now going forward. So there's really no judgment of intent that is needed at this point. And we're basically just asking ourselves, as a referee, was there contact? Was there contact with the hand and the ball? And you cannot score a goal if the ball hits the hand, whether it's accidentally happens or not. It's more fact-based going forward, that the ball hits the hand and ends up in the back of the net or ends up with creating a goal scoring opportunity, then we will whistle a handball on a situation like that. So I will take a look at a couple clips here. The first clip will involve scores and scoring of a goal. And I'll show you this clip here. And we'll get a good replay on this. Right here, you see, clear, contact, ball to hand, contact with the attacker, and ball ends up in the back of the net as a goal. Therefore, no more judgment of intent. This is now a handball. Okay, the second category here is creates a goal scoring opportunity. Again, touch of the ball creates a goal scoring opportunity. And when I say a goal scoring opportunity, we're not talking about the way we define a goal scoring opportunity when we refer to DOGSO. We're talking about more of a broad attack on goal and attacking opportunity. So when we say creates a goal scoring opportunity, we are not necessarily referring to DOGSO, where all the criteria needs to be met for that. And even if there is an accidental touch, if it creates an opportunity to score, then it's a handball. And we'll show you this video clip here. We have a you'll see a contact right here, right there, which leads to a shot on goal, and this equates to a handball. It must be called. And the third category here, if the ball goes into the goal directly from a player's hand or arm, it's always a handball. Now, there is no judgment of intent, even if it's accidental, let's say, it's still a handball. So any contact now, it should be a handball. It makes it very easy for us going forward, as there's just less decision on this for us to make. Less controversy, more than likely, in a lot of cases. And the bottom line is it just is what football expects, whether it be from players, fans, everybody, all participants. It's what we expect. Whenever there's contact with the hand, we can't have a goal be scored, even if accidental. And I'll show you a clip here. This example, what I'm referring to. There'll be a good replay here from this angle. We all know who this guy is, and right there, as you could see, there was contact. Therefore, we have a handball. Okay. All right, let's talk about penalty kicks. Then another change to the NCAA rules again to align with IFAB. There's two changes here. Number one is that a goalkeeper cannot touch the goalpost, the net, the crossbar, and we cannot signal for a PK to start if any of those items are moving. Okay, the referee, so basically the referee must not signal for the penalty kick to be taken if the goalkeeper is touching the post, the crossbar, the net, or if those items are moving. And the reason here is because, you know, the goalkeeper typically will be shaking these in an attempt to distract the kicker. So we would just hold up our whistle and will not whistle for the kick to be taken until that happens. The second change is that the goalkeeper must have at least 1 foot on the goal line at the moment the ball is kicked. And if the goalkeeper is off the line and makes a save, the PK is retaken. Okay, the first offense to the keeper is just a warning. The second offense would be a caution, and the third offense would be a second caution. I'll show you a clip here. So while this was a little bit difficult to see from this particular angle, I'm going to pause it when the kick is taken. And even though you know, the referee there is a bit blocking the view, the goalkeeper has 1 foot on the line, his right foot, and therefore this is now a legal penalty kick. Okay, the big change for this year, and the one that will probably cause the most, not necessarily confusion, but will need the most guidance and instruction in the going forward from the NCAA, from NCAA, the ECSR, and all of the different groups, is we have made a substantial change to the fighting rule. As everyone knows on this call, this rule has been the most confusing one in our rule book for many, many years. Many years ago, when this came into play, the intention was there. We were trying to give a higher, more game suspension for more severe types of misconduct. But the definition that, as it has currently read in the past, was very vague and led to more confusion than what the objective of the rule initially was. So we are redefining the fighting rule and creating a violent behavior 1 and violent behavior 2 category of red cards. And I'll talk a little bit more in just a minute about what those mean. So this is still coming into play what we started discussing last year, where we were using video clips to define what a quote fight was, based on what the definition was. And I'll give you some examples here in just a minute. So the rationale for this rule change was, you know, violent acts that deserve more than a 1-game suspension, that are more severe and in a malicious manner, such as headbutting in a malicious manner, elbows to the face or head in a malicious manner, you know, stomping in a malicious manner. All these previously, up until this year, came under quote fighting. So we've just recategorized these. We're just calling them violent behavior 2 now. Okay? Your decision-making process isn't going to change necessarily from what it's been in the past. Again, we started last year giving guidance on practical application on how to make those decisions, and we're going to continue to do that with a lot of video clips moving into this season. In fact, I'll give you a little preview here, but Richard invited me back in, I think, 2 weeks from now, and you know, I'll do a whole session on this particular area, fighting, VB1 and VB2. So tonight I'm gonna cover on it just from a high level, and then I'll be back in a few weeks with a lot of video clips in this area to really help us hone down on what we're looking for. So violent behavior 1, again, the definition here has not changed. It's excessive force when not challenging for the ball. All the considerations that have previously have gone into violent behavior, we're not changing anything in the way we make a decision here. It's a red card, and it's a standard 1-game suspension. So the change is now here. Fighting, I would almost say that the fighting definition is, I'll read it to you. It's down here in the middle of the page. And it's defined as a deliberate strike or punch or an attempt to strike or punch another player, official, coach, or bench personnel. The line through the strike through that I have there is what has been taken out of the previous rule. So the rule will be, as I just read, fight is defined as deliberate strike, punch, or attempt to strike or punch in a malicious manner. And I would like to maybe say when we see a fight, we kind of know that it's a fight. It's either a fight or somebody punches someone, that even if, it's not a reciprocation or two involved, I don't think anyone would want to debate the fact that that is still a fight if you punch or strike someone, or in soccer, attempt to strike or attempt to punch. So the rest of these violent acts, such as the headbutting, stomping on a player, elbowing a player in a malicious manner, all these actions that were previously categorized as fighting, we're now just moving them into something called violent behavior 2. And it's going to be a 2-game suspension. So things that are more severe than a run-of-the-mill violent behavior red card, we will now call them violent behavior 2 red card, and they will accompany a 2-game suspension. You might say to me, well, we're giving the decision-making authority and game suspension authority to the hand of the referee. And yes, that's true. However, we've always been doing that in the past. We've called something a fight. Somebody pulls someone's hair off the ball with a lot of force. No attempt to play the ball in a malicious manner. A hair pull, that's when called fighting. That's always been called fighting in the past. It's always been a 2-game suspension in the past. We're now just going to call it violent behavior 2. So the term malicious will still come into play with violent behavior 2. And I define that as intended or intending to do harm. So you're showing a desire to harm a player, to harm a student athlete. Any of these actions, these excessive force, which is extreme and severe, that it places the participant, the player, in danger of injury, showing harm. These will now be called violent behavior 2. So looking at some of the FIFA considerations that we'll talk about, the same ones we started talking about last year is, complete disregard of danger to the opponent, or puts the opponent in a dangerous situation, uses brutality. We'll need to be able to differentiate using, let's say, an elbow as an example. Was an elbow done either, I hate to use the word kind of run-of-the-mill, but wasn't done with, not much force, or was it done with a lot of force that was malicious and shows brutality against an opponent? And I've always liked to, when I've made decisions on, in the past, fighting or not fighting, I think a rule of thumb is always good to think to yourself, was this action that was just committed, how severe was it? Is it worth a 2-game suspension versus just a 1-game suspension? And if you answer to yourself, yes, this misconduct, this action that just happened is severe enough, in my opinion, as the referee, for a 2-game suspension, then you will call this now violent behavior 2. So I will stop there, Richard.
Great.
This is a quick overview for everyone of the rule changes coming up for 2021. And I'm sure there's probably questions, but I think what we'll do is maybe we can hold them for when I'm back on in a couple weeks, and we'll spend a lot of time with video clip examples of getting down into the different type of violent 1, violent 2, or fighting.
No problem. That was great. Now, why don't we take a couple of questions on Rule 16, Rule 13. We do have a couple of interesting questions. So if you don't mind, I'm going to have there's one here from Michael. I may pronounce it wrong. Fricano. Let's see if I can find Michael here, and he can answer that question himself. Let's see if we can find Michael here. Michael, you there?
I am here. Thank you for allowing me to participate in this event. And thanks, Ryan, for doing that.
No, not a problem. Thank you for logging in. Where are you calling from?
I'm one of the 3 Hawaii referees you mentioned a little while ago.
Aloha.
Oh, wow.
Aloha.
And an RWISOA Hawaiian referee, so you need to know this one. You want to ask him the question? Go right ahead.
Yes, actually, I had 2 questions. One refers to the drop ball situation. The rule is changed, talks about when play is stopped with the ball outside the penalty area, it's a drop ball to the team that last touched it. My question is, what if that last touch was by an attacker inside the opponent's penalty area? Is it still a drop ball to the attacker in the penalty area, or should it rightly be a drop ball to the goalkeeper to conform with FIFA? And after we talk about
you're going to give
the other one.
Yeah, good question. Right, you're going to give the drop ball to the goalkeeper in that scenario.
And that makes all the sense in the world. It's just not clear from the way the wording is presented in the rule change.
Okay. Yep, that's good to know. Thanks for pointing that out. And just a point there, Michael, to follow up, just for a point for everyone. If there's any questions regarding how the rule is written, we will always defer back to the IFAB interpretations.
Which I think answers
clearly,
the second question.
Yeah.
My second question concerns something the IFAB did address after they changed the law, and that's the goal kick or free kick in the penalty area that's put into play by the goalkeeper to a teammate who then heads it back to the keeper's hands. And of course, the IFAB says that we don't punish anybody, we just tell them don't do that anymore and allow them to retake. And that's not mentioned in the NCAA rule change either. I'm taking from your answer that we apply the IFAB interpretation and do the same thing.
Yes, and that's something we can add in as well. The book has not been printed yet. It's still in draft form.
Oh, great. As we say in Hawaii, mahalo.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael. Thank you. Great. Look at that. Someone from Hawaii. And with interesting questions. Now we have another one. This has nothing to do with the change. It's just a clarification on why on video review. So let's see if I can find this gentleman here, Andrew. Okay. Let's see if we can get him. Andrew, are you there?
Yeah, do you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Well, where are you calling from? Where are you logging in from?
From Virginia, part of RWISOA.
Very good. Welcome. And your question for Ryan is?
Yeah, with the changes that we've adopted new options for video review, is there any particular reason why serious foul play was not included in reviewable plays?
Yeah, we've talked about that, and we just don't think the technology and the consistency across the board is there yet.
The letter of the law, then that's when you get into trouble. So I asked Ryan if he was kind enough to come back, and his answer was, of course. So he'll be here on May 8th. And that day is still good for you, right, Ryan?
Yes, that's good.
Good. And then handball is going to be on May 29th, and that's going to be Mark Cahan. He's going to be doing a full clinic on handling. And we know that that's not going to be enough for the two topics, they big topics. So I'm sure the NCAA is going to be doing some other stuff, and we're going to be letting everybody know because that's important. Let's see, Manny. I can't find Manny. So I think, oh, there he is. Manny, you have the last question. Full first name, last name, and where you calling from?
Manny Terrani. I'm a new member of the RWISOA. I'm in Weehawken, New Jersey. I just joined your chapter actually this year. I transferred from another chapter.
Welcome.
Thank you. The question that I have, and I hear that there is a handball session in 3-4 weeks. This can wait, but I didn't see that you go over any kind of defensive handball the way IFAB spent a lot of times about a year and a half ago to make a difference between the offensive player and defensive player. Do we follow by the defensive interpretation from IFAB as well?
Yes, the NCAA will follow the IFAB definition and interpretation and practical application on the handball. But, you know, like Richard said, that kind of is an own clinic in and of itself. So, you know, Mark will get into more clips on this when we talk about stuff, you know, ball to hand, unnaturally, you know, bigger, creating a barrier, arm above the shoulder, you know, unexpected ball, all that sort of lingo now, the considerations and talk from IFAB. We'll be getting into all that in a couple weeks.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, again, Richard, I do appreciate you allowing me on here tonight. Again, it was really great to be here and speak to everyone. And I'll say again what I opened with. I hope you all are in good spirits, continue to stay healthy, and I wish you all the best, especially in the Northeast, but everywhere, obviously. So take care, everybody, and we'll speak to you soon. Thank you.
No, thank you, Ryan. Thank you. We really, really appreciate it. And we'll see you on the 8th. So thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what a night, what a night. So here's a list of some future speakers. We have Christina Uncle, Chris Penso, S.C. Bahamas, Manny Ortiz, Corey Rockwell, Dr. Donald Wilberg, Ted Uncle, Todd Abraham, Lance, he's actually coming next week, and many others. So thank you for logging in. Thank you for following our link. We're just trying to do the best we can to bring to you a little bit of education during this time of crisis. So we're a little behind. Let's see if we still have Chico here, or do I have to do the clinic on my own? Chico, are you around? So Chico, he's actually not just an MLS pro referee. He's which happened to in 2013. He was the referee for the MLS Cup, and the same year. Correct me if I'm wrong. You were the referee for the MLS All Stars. Then in 2017, you did the U.S. Open Cup, and then I forgot the years, but I know you did like 10 NCAA college cups and five finals. You did 4 Big Ten finals, 1 ACC final, 6 Big East finals, and 3 AAC finals. So I think Chico is going to be a great presenter to cover some of our college refereeing concerns. I think you're the right candidate for this. What do you think?
Thank you, Richard.
And here's
inviting me.
Here's some pictures from. Well, how old is this? It's like 8 years, right?
That one is 2010. That's Barbara. Yep, that's 10 years ago.
That was 2010. How about that one?
This one was the year before. This is 09.
That was 09.
Yeah,
and
I was thin.
and young. You know how it is. That's one of the things. I mean, we keep getting older and older, and the kids keep getting younger and younger.
Exactly. Yes.
So I'm going to give you the power because you have a nice presentation, and I'll, if anything happens with the videos, we can always take over and make him play for you. So let me give you the power.
You can click if you want.
Oh, it's all you right there. Yeah, you have the power. Just we see it. Just find the PowerPoint, and we're good to go.
Exactly. You're gonna put me on the spot here.
No, it's okay. If it doesn't work, then we use mine.
Go ahead, Richard. Yeah. So, I mean, pretty much, I mean, thank you for the opportunity, first of all. And one of the things that they've asked me, the topic that I wanted to cover today was getting ready for a college game, right? And one of the things that always, coming up through the ranks, and I think after my first college cup in 2006, 5, whatever that year was, I learned so much when I met with the NCAA committee, and one of the things that they told me, and I still use up until my last college game in 2018. I'm hurt right now, so I have not refereed in over a year. So is the difference of a college game, and ever since that conversation with the national committee, it was I took it in, and it only helped me. So hopefully I can share my experiences, and hopefully if you can take a couple of things, it will be fantastic, right? So first of all, let me start with saying what is the college game, and how is that different than any of the other games, right? Because you're gonna say, well, it's still a soccer game. Well, it is, and it's moving in that direction. You just heard Ryan talk about, more and more it's going to be globalized into what IFAB does. I think, for me, is very unique, right? And one of the things that the college game is different is that it's not an MLS game, right? It's not a USO game. It's not an amateur game, and definitely we cannot go, definitely it's not a youth game, right? So with that said, I did some research, and I think that most NCAA student athletes, about only 2% become pros. So if you do USL, USSF games, I think you have to remember that moving forward, these guys are not professional, and they're not playing for endorsements, right? So I asked Richard, I said, like, so how can we define, the college game? How do you define the collegiate soccer? And I think for me, it was, I said, how, if somebody would ask, Chico, how do you define college soccer? For me, it's like, it's a very fast game, okay? It's got a lot of athleticism. There's, it's very physical. There's some really good challenges. Okay, some of these kids, practice all the time, how to make those challenges, and it's very emotional, right? I mean, we go to venues, to institutions, and then we realize that, like, man, this coach is crazy. And I used to think that, but then once I started getting, getting a little more perspective and why they're so emotional, because they're under a lot of pressure, just like any other coach, just like any other, whether it's DA, USL, all the coaches are under a lot of pressure. We have to remember that's how they make the living, right? For the majority of us in at the college ranks, it's a hobby. We go do it, for fun because we love the game, a little extra cash, whatever the case might be. But at the end of the day, for the coaches, that's how they put, food on their kids' table. So we have to remember that. Remember, next time the coach gets emotional, you don't have to engage, but just remember how Chico said, this is how they put food on the table. So for me, that's what helped me. I got a little bit more sympathetic and empathetic, and helped me diffuse situations where the coaches could be a little hot-headed. So let's go through the college season first of all. So most college teams play 225 games. And then the average referee has, college referee does 40 to 50 games, right? I mean, I'm guilty that on the peak of my career, of college career, I probably did close to 60 games, all right? So, and I was in my 40s. So with that said, I mean, I was twice as old as some of these players. And I think in order to get better at the college game, we also have to start changing our mindset, okay? And again, this is only my humble opinion. So let's go through how do we prepare for the college game. And I'm going to use one of Angelo's favorite phrases, right? He used to say, when I was young, I used to go, whatever, what does that mean, right? If you fail to prepare to fail. And that's what, I mean, now that I'm 53 almost, I'm like, that is so true, right? I mean, that's probably one of the best advice that I can tell you, you know, moving forward. So prepare for the college game. So first of all, what worked for me, you know, when I was young and I was, you know, coming up, you have to get rid of that, flip that hat, what I call flipping the hat. So if you're a USL referee, a pro referee, you know, you're a young up and coming, or it's like we have to think as a college referee and as such, right? So we have to represent the badge that we're using. So with that said, you know, leave the USSF, the pro, the FIFA badge to the side, and you know, think as a college ref. So first of all, so we have a lot of games. You know, as a college ref, you're gonna do about, I'm gonna guess, 50 games, 40 games. So for me, right, getting fit in August is gonna be too late, right? So start getting ready for the college game early in June, July. Don't wait until August to start getting in shape. So another advice, you know, reduce your injuries. We're not young, right? You know, like I said, you know, I was doing 60 games when I was 40 years old. And how would that, you know, try to be healthy, take care of yourself. And another advice that I will give you is like invest in yourselves, right? So, you know, how do we do that? So hire a sports performing coach. So hire a massage therapist, you know, get somebody to, you know, do yoga, change something that you've been doing for years, right? And do something new. So, you know, working, like I said, 40, 50 games in 12 weeks, it's a little bit too much, right? So, Richard, you have any questions?
No, but since you mentioned something before about a coach, I know you actually had a sort of discussion with a coach, and that's what actually made you change your mind. Do you want to share that with the group? You want to share that with everybody? Who the coach was, if you want to say it, and what was said? What actually what is it that he told you that make you change your mind?
So this was Coach Kerr from Duke, and this was probably, I was fairly young in MLS, right, and doing a lot of college games, and we just happened to meet at the airport. I forgot exactly where we were, and he was traveling. We started chatting, and one of the things that he said, you know, we love you guys, you know, the MLS referees, is that, however, when we get one of you guys, you know, a lot of times you let us play like this is an MLS game. I said, and it's like my players end up getting hurt. You know, we have an MLS ref, and they want to let us play. And he said, and remember, and that's the words that I use. That remember, these are student athletes. All right. So I said, you know, these kids are not playing for minutes. These kids are not playing for endorsements. And I said, if you can remember that. And since then, this is probably 05, 06 when he told me that. I mean, I've used it, you know, for my advantage, and I remember that at every college game, whether it's a D3, D2, women's game, men's game, every time I step on the pitch for a college match, it's like, okay, you know, flip the hat. These are student athletes, okay? At the most, they're gonna play 4 years, and career's over. All right, so that was probably one of the best advices that a coach told me, you know, which amazingly, you know, he's very well respected. So.
Yeah, we actually had a conversation, you and I, about that they were student athletes, and sometimes we forget. We there refereeing them today and tomorrow. One of them may be a lawyer, right, suing you, or a doctor saving your life, right?
The guy is 100% you or sue you. So, I don't
so
a surgeon.
that's a key.
That's going to fix it, like me, right? I mean, I just got a hip surgery, so yeah, absolutely. Anyway, so again, probably another piece of advice that I would tell you would be, prepare for the college game. I mentioned, to hire a sports performance coach, a mental performance coach, right? All these other things. If you think that is so cliche or that, a lot of the institutions are doing this, right? I mean, they have a sports nutrition coach. They have a sports psychiatrist. I mean, the game has changed so much since I started refereeing in 1995 that if we're not doing what they're doing, we're going to be left behind. So, the piece of advice I was going to say is I want you guys to start thinking like an athlete, act like an athlete, because, the modern football referee, right? We're athletes. I mean, we are no different other than, we're older than the college players, but you have to think that, that you are an athlete, right? So hopefully that would, help on your bag of tricks. So, okay, moving along. So, I think another piece of advice that I would say to know how to prepare for a game is again, be humble, step on the field of play and just leave the ego behind, all right? So if we're hurt, which I've been hurt so many times, is like, you know what? I need to come off this game. I know I want to do it. I know it's a high profile game, but at the end of the day, just do the game the best, do it for the good of the game, and just call the assigner, hey, Richard, you know what? I have a little pull muscle, whatever, maybe he can give you a game later on, or maybe he can give you a fourth official, something, but he can still be in the game. So, try to do 40, 50 games in 12 weeks is a little bit too much, I think, right? So, and again, I said that.
No, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. You can't just, I know you want to do as many games as you can. The season is pretty short. You're looking at, a couple of months. And you want to, make as much money as you can. I know there are a lot of people out there that depend on, on the college season to actually feed their families. And we understand that. Absolutely. But at the same time, you need to understand, like Chico's saying, that if you get hurt, then you're not going to be doing that many games. So if you pull a muscle, just take a 2-3 days off, right? And go see a doctor instead of just trying to man up and okay, I'm trying to finish the season, because the truth is you're not going to finish the season.
Right.
And you've been hurt so many times. How long did it take you the last time? Because to go back to 100%.
Well, I've been hurt for a little over a year now. I had hip surgery early in this year, and again, we put our bodies through so much, right, physically and emotionally, because again, we want to continue doing the game that we love, but also, we're like I said, I'm going to be 53 in September. So the way I was training when I was in my 30s, it's gotta be different, right? I have to be humble and say, you know what, I cannot continue doing this much longer. So speaking of, I remember in 2017, when Ryan asked me if I wanted to go to Philadelphia and do College Cup, and I said, you know what, thank you, I'm going to say yes, but I also want to make it my last one. And we laugh and so on. Oh, come on, I was like, no, really. I said, it's time to again, leaving the ego behind. Is like there's so many very good young referees that deserve the shot, and you know what? I'm going to use it to say goodbye. I still remember putting a post and thank the NCAA for the many years that they selected me. And I think it's like I was okay with that. I'm not gonna. It did hurt a little bit, but it was the right decision. I'll watch the Final Four from home now, so which is fine. It's okay.
Yeah, you know what? Let's not forget that you always gonna be known for your very last game. Not your best game, but your last one. So you got to be wise. If you hurt, right? Now, especially nowadays, so pretty much every game is either streamed live or on TV somewhere.
Yeah.
If you're hurt, you're not going to give 100%. So the assigner is going to be like, wait a minute, what's going on with him? Or maybe he's done, right? And so think about that, right?
Richard, if I may, I mean, along those lines, my 2013 NCAA championship, we had a disaster of a game, and it hurt me. It hurt me forever because we missed an obvious handball that should have been not only a penalty kick, but also a red card, right, in the first half. Maryland Notre Dame, and it just haunts me for many years. That when Ryan asked me, it's like, what, you've been selected, you want to go? And I said, absolutely, because I wanted to go there, just like Rodolfo said earlier. That game, my 2017 championship, it was like so uber concentrated for those 90 minutes. I didn't want to miss anything. I was overrunning play. I was trying to get in the angle because that 2013 followed me for 4 years. And it was more of a, for me, it's like, what, I gotta go and the funny thing is also in the same venue. It was in Philadelphia. So for 4 years, it took me that long to get over that hump and get rid of that chip over my shoulders.
Yeah, but you had a great 2017 game, so that's what you're going to be remembered for. So don't worry about it.
Oh, thank you.
So now you say something about within 2 hours travel time is home game and so on and so forth. Can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, so I used to have this thing, traveling. It was like home games for me was anything less than 2 hours. And those days I would get up, I would stretch, I would, foam roll, take a hot shower, hydrate, and so on. I was a nurse back then, so I can go work a little bit and then leave early for my game and try to get in the mindset, right? But what I loved the most, it was those 2 hour plus games, what I call the away games. Driving to Chicago, driving to West Virginia. I used those 4 5-hour drives to just go through the game. And I know it sounds redundant and sounds cliche. Oh come on, it's I've done 500 games. But trust me, if you want to be successful at something, you have to be the best. You have to think in those. I am the best college referee, and you have to think along those lines, right? Driving to the venue is like going through the process, visualizing the game. What's going to happen with this coach? What's going to happen with this players? Holy crap! The last time they had 3 red cards, right? All these little things that that we think that we know it, but until it happens to you, you don't know how you're going to react until you put them in your mind before it happens. So again, I use those experiences. For me, it worked for me. So it's another piece of advice. Another personal experience is like use what we have, right? I mean, this platform that I'm being invited to speak to you guys. I mean, we didn't have that in 1995, right? I mean, this is this is awesome. For the young referees, take advantage of this. For the guys in Hawaii, this is so cool that we are able to connect and chat about this. And we never had this. I mean, this is relatively new to me. Obviously, I'm having problems managing my computer, my PowerPoint, so that actually tells you about how old I am.
No comments.
Exactly. The other thing is learn something new, right? I mean, I always said, if we have a new iPhone, a new tablet, a new computer every couple of years, why not do the same with your referee career? I mean, and the fact that there's 100+ of you in this forum right now, this is just a testament of the investment in you and the knowledge that you want to gain for the college game, right? So again, you're never too old. At 53, I'm still learning, how to run the PowerPoint through this webinar. But again, in all seriousness, that the game evolves, and so should you, so should the referee, right? So again, I put in the PowerPoint, learn something new, and the how cool is it that we have Ryan going through the 2020 rules. And so again, learn the rules, because trust me, I'm too old to be learning something new sometimes, I think. But if I want to be a college referee for much longer, I have to learn the new rules, right? So Anyway, so I'm going to close this, Richard. So, again, for me, how do you prepare for the college game? So remember, a little bit of perspective. Think, get in the coach's shoes, get in the player's shoes, and think, these are student athletes. All right. So if you can remember that, you're going to be in good shape. So again, they don't care that Chico Grajeda had 10 NCAA finals, right? They don't care. They don't care who you are. They didn't care who I was. They don't know you. And I used to tell myself this, I'm never above the game. All right. If you can take another piece of advice, is like just be humble, because nobody goes to a soccer game to watch the referee, right? I mean, unless my wife that's in the other room, she's about the only person that goes to a game to watch the ref. But otherwise, absolutely no fans go there to see you. All right. So,
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Other than referees and assigners, no one else is going out there for the games.
Absolutely.
Why don't we watch this clip real quick? Because we're always talking about Division One. We use the Division One games for education, for training. But the truth is that I would say 90+% of referees are doing D3s and D2 games, and we know the difference. For those of us that do D1s, there's a big difference between the D1 and the D3. So why don't we? I don't know if you can. Can you see the video there, Chico?
No, I just lost you. Where are you? Okay.
Tell me can you see the video now?
Yeah, it's not playing.
It's not cleaning. Let's see if we can solve that problem. I want to make sure that you can see the video. Meanwhile, I'm going to bring somebody in. Somebody has a question. Aaron has a question while you clear up your screen.
Okay.
See if we can get Aaron. He muted himself, so we're trying to wait for him to unmute. And what we're doing now, let's see if I can take over this. Can you see the screen now or no?
I see your
Still
screen.
can't?
Nothing's playing yet.
Can you see it now, Sackerfield?
Yes.
All right, great. So let's play that until we're waiting for Aaron. He's self-muted there. We're waiting for him to, when he's ready to ask the question, we'll give him the floor. So let's play this. It's just like a minute clip. All right, a lot of things happen here, so we can share with the group, and then you can give us your college expertise, and we can talk a little bit of the differences between USSF and college, which are a lot, right?
Absolutely.
So let's see if this works.
Here we go.
Let's look at the referee positioning, body language, some of the things to look for. This is a D3 game, so you look at the players' physiques, right? Their body shape,
Right.
their age, their movement, their skills, which in a way it tells you their acceptance level when you make a decision, right? Which is
Right.
the opposite of a pro game or D1 game. It's a few elements to put together. And again, for everybody to know, we're not here to criticize the referee. I don't know who the referee is. We don't care about the decision he made. We just using this clip to make us better. So now we have an injury, and immediately we go into an injury management protocol. So I'm going to give you access to the mouse so you can play back and forth what you discuss in this video, okay, Chico?
Okay.
You have control of the mouse so you can play it back and forth.
Okay. So I think, you know, for my, just, you know, in the vacuum, right, you know, the first priority that has to, you know, to occur right here, regardless of the decision, whether it's a foul or no foul, you know, I think the first thing that you have to remember is, like, again, we're student athletes, you know, the safety, it's a head injury. So stop the clock, let the medical personnel come in, all right? That should be the first priority, especially with head, like I said, head injuries. From the video, I can tell if it's a foul or no.
That's the microphone.
But get medical to get in there. All right. So, and then don't forget, you know, the player. If you're going to talk, if you deem this to be a foul, then don't forget the player, the offender. You know, keep them inside. Also protect them, right? Because you have the blue team, the dark blue team, come in and trying to chat with him. So I think from just looking at the video, it took a little too long for the medical personnel to come in. I like the fact that he went over and chatted, see if the keeper was okay or not. But I think the fact that the ball was loose, the keeper is unresponsive, seems like at first, right? That would be your cue to get somebody else, to get the trainer, get help for him.
Yeah. Now, USSF game versus a college game. We're looking at players, right? They're playing, either they're getting paid to play or they're playing because they feel like playing, versus students, right?
Right.
Student athletes. Now, did this referee manage the situation under a college environment the right way, or you think we should have speed it up a little bit and show some, you know, signs of urgency? Then let's not focus so much about if it was a foul, no foul, red card, not a red card. Let's focus on the player being down. When you're on a referee in a game like this, you don't know if it was a foul or it wasn't, but there is a player obviously facing the ground and not moving, not responding to anything. What would you do?
So remember, one of the college rules that I love is the clock management. All right, so this is probably my favorite college rule. You have the authority to kill that clock, right? And this is one of those where, again, like Richard said, we don't know if it's a foul or not. I don't care, but just you have a student athlete that is not moving after being kicked somewhere, you know, above the neck. So kill the clock, immediately get medical attention, and then deal with anything else. It looked like nothing was happening. You know, the blue team, the dark blue team was a little bit upset, but you know, there was no shoving or anything. So that gives you that moment to, like, okay, I can concentrate on the safety of the student athlete first.
And another thing, important thing, and this is just not for college, also for USSF. If you need to bring in the medical personnel into the field, and especially a D3, you know, a coach is going to come in. My suggestion, so was Ben, and I'm sure Chico's is the same. Move away from the player who's hurt, because guess what's going to happen? Guess what the coach is going to say?
Yes.
What are you doing here? Right? This is not the first time. You're not making calls. This is what happens. It's your fault. And now you're forced to deal with a situation that could have been prevented. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chico.
Right, no, absolutely. You know, so once you get medical attention, you know, and remove the other players from the player that is hurt, right? So make sure that there's nothing else. You know, be safe, think smart. You know, have a little bit of a street smartness and isolate. You know, get medical attention, get away from. You know, don't leave yourself exposed for coaches, or sometimes, you know, some of these D3 games. Sometimes even the athletic trainer goes.
And there's the coach. Sorry to interrupt. There is the coach. having an argument with the referee. The referee's going back and forth. There is no need for this. This could have been prevented.
Correct. Just remove yourself. Once you call the, medical attention personnel, just get away from that area. So, go to your AR, have a chat, whatever your next decision is going to be, but don't be near the coach and be exposed to unnecessary abuse, if you want to call it, or.
Yeah, putting yourself in a place that it was preventable, because now you may be forced to deal with the coach's behavior, and you may have to, even show a card, and that won't look too cool.
Absolutely. Yep.
Another aspect on this field, I just want to pick your brain a little bit. This is a D3. We talked about the physiques, right? The body shape of these players.
Right.
And they're not Division I. And obviously the field is not a top field, top shape field. And if we pay attention, if we look at the hash marks, they're actually in line with the penalty area.
Right.
So it's very narrow. It's a tiny field.
Right.
It's a small field, narrow field with these big players that they're not, they're skillful. They're not skillful as you would like them to be. So just to share with everybody here, if you can give us a couple of tips. When you have to referee a college game, this type of D3 or a JUCO game, in a narrow field where you have 22 big guys, how do you manage your positioning? What is it you do different in a game like that?
Well, first of all, it's like you're not going to have a lot of room to move, right? So my advice is let the play develop, right? And remember, this is a D3, so the skills are not going to be there, which means you're going to be probably doing more running than a Division I, right? Unfortunately, that's how this game is going to play. Again, this is just in a vacuum, just in isolation of this clip. So, stay further back but move as the play develops. The other thing, obviously with the injury that we had, you can tell that the skill is not where it needs to be for a D1. So expect any of these crazy or unfortunate tackles, right? You never know how they're going to behave because the skill is not going to be there. You can see right here, it almost looks like, just if you can pause it right here. Can you go back a little bit more? You can see where, it seems like 22 players are right in one frame, which is insane, right? This is not what we're used to it. So, right here, if you look around, it seems like you have 11 dark blue players. So I don't know what the score is, but this is not normal for a soccer game to have all these players in one little area. So
yeah, so now you have a reduced space with too many players fighting for the same space, because that's what the game is all about. It's about creating space, but they're not going to be able to create the space. So now you need to expect more contact. There will be more fouls.
Right.
And since the skill level is not as high as Division I, now we need to deal with the tolerance level as well. So game management, can you give him some tips for our guys here and ladies here listening in this type of games? What do you do different when it becomes to communicating fouls and no fouls, et cetera, et cetera?
Right. So I think, you have to work, and I've always said, the higher the level of the game, the easier it is to manage, right? And so this one, you have to probably manage more than you would on a Division I. You don't know how they're going to respond, first of all. It's a very narrow field, and you have to constantly be communicating with the players, take it easy, I'm watching this, whatever your way of refereeing, right? Whatever you're comfortable with, but doing nothing, saying nothing is probably not what you want to do.
Yeah, like you said, you need to actually work more in a JUCO game, in D3 or D2 game, than in a D1. Definitely, most definitely. Yep. We do have another video, and this is about expecting the unexpected in the college game, because we all think of, okay, this is a school, it's a school environment, and yet nothing's going to happen, right? It's not like everything's going to be cool, we're safe, right? But just expect the unexpected. So I'm going to play this real quick. This happened to be actually an NCAA D3 a tournament game. I think it was the first leg game. Doesn't matter the teams or anything like that. Doesn't matter who the referee was. We're not here to criticize anything. We're just here to use this clip to learn from it and to make sure that we understand in a college game, especially in a college game, you need to expect the unexpected. And this is an NCAA game, like I said, so we do have NCAA representatives there. So usually this doesn't happen in a game like that. Yeah, I know it looks like an amateur man's game. But again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but expect the unexpected.
Right. Wow.
So we have a lot to talk about here. So if you can just help us out a little bit with preventive refereeing, and like if we can go back, you have the power with the mic, so you can with the mouse, so you can go back. Some sort of preventive officiating and how to communicate with those cards better, so this doesn't happen. Because obviously, those cards didn't have any effect. So can you give us some tips and
So
how to manage?
So guys, again, this is all in isolation, right? We're just looking, we don't know what the temperature was and of this game throughout the game. I don't know what minute this is. However, when these things happen and it's completely unexpected, there's got to be some sense of urgency. I'm going to guess just by the reaction of these players that something has happened throughout the game. Richard, these are all in the same game, right? There's three different clips right here.
Yes, back to back to back. Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So again, something has happened that we don't know, but we can dissect each clip. So let's go through the first one. Right, the reaction of this player is frustration, so something must have happened. All right, the player is backing away, the red player is walking away. So if you know that something has happened, you need to start moving with urgency and try to prevent. Let's move to the second video, all right? Because let's assume that the first clip happened in the first half. So and the referee is backpedaling. So one of the things that is not backpedaling. Let me rephrase that. So when you have players that the game has been going hot, the last thing they want to do is turn you back, right? So we have, as you can see, again, we're not criticizing the referee. We're trying to learn. So if this happens to your game, just remember, your guard should be up for those 90 minutes plus, and keep those players in your frame. Your ARs, your fourth official, work as a team. This is not the time to scratch your head and look down on your shoes. This is the time to stay focused. Again, if we assume that this happened, the first red card or whatever incident happened in the first half, and this just happened a few yards from you, so I'm gonna say it's totally unacceptable, right? So let's cut the BS right now and learn, right? So I think if I'm a little bit more direct, if this happens, don't turn your back. If this is the third incident, so hopefully your guard should have been up a little bit higher. And let me bring it back a little bit more again. So right,
and yes, that is a referee assault.
Right. Yeah. So right here, I mean, so we talk about preparing. We talk about getting ready for the match, and this is the third incident that we're gonna see. And you already had two tough incidents. You probably need to be moving in that direction a little bit sooner. Again, this is all in a vacuum. So let me play it again. As soon as that happens, you need to run and be ready for that, right? So we went from a possible yellow card to the red player. Now we have a red card, yellow card, and referee assault.
And with all your years of experience doing college games, do you think that the pretty much all this could have been prevented? And if so,
So yes, I'm gonna say from what we've seen, right? I think there's a lot of preventative, especially the second clip where you're not paying attention to what's going on behind your back. Again, I'm gonna be very direct because if this is tough love, guys, okay? We're doing this because we want to learn, and this is one of the things that don't turn your back. I mean, again, the game, the clips showing us that it's been a volatile game. So don't make that mistake in the next game when things are again a little out of control. And again, this is just learning. So it's just something happened. Keep the players in mind. Keep the players in front of you. A lot of talking, a lot of communication, a lot of urgency. Work a little harder.
So let's assume the first one happened in the first half, right? And we go to halftime. What would you tell your crew to do different?
So if we were a little relaxed, it was going to be like, guys, be ready for something else, because anytime that that we have I'm going to assume that he gave a red card for that, for the kicking the ball into the player's face. So
yes, he did.
That the other team is going to want to provoke and create a situation that the referee is going to have to make a decision, right? So we've all played the game, and we know that's what's going to happen. So expect anything that is going to create a situation. So the other team wants to even out the playing field, 10v10. So keep that in mind, guys. Tough second half. I'm going to ask you to earn your paycheck today, right? Do not look anywhere but on the field, right? Eyes in the field, eyes behind my back. Immediately, as soon do not watch the game. I want you to watch behind my back. Every time I turn, tell me what's going on behind me. So.
Great.
Right.
Great. Preventive officiating, that's the key word, especially in the college game. So on the second one there.
Richard, if you go back to the first clip, and I mean, it looks like he goes to, right away, he goes to his rear pocket right there, isolate the player, and don't let anybody else get close to him, right? I mean, red card, protect him, walk him off the field. You're right by the touchline. And just let them know that you're in charge. You're gonna take care of this. I'm not gonna forget it. I'm in charge today. Yeah, I mean, it's a great opportunity. Just push him off the touchline and let him go his way. As soon as
and how about the proximity? I think he's a bit too close, and he paid the price on the second half for being that close.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess it's probably his comfort level. He's probably done that before. I don't recommend it. I don't like it. Remember that the higher the level, the more control it is, the player's behavior is a little bit. I mean, then again, we saw the clips from the World Cup, right? And you see unexpected behavior too. So.
No, definitely, most definitely. And the reason why I want to show this, because so we can show the differences between the World Cup and this game, and we can utilize some of the stuff that was done at that game and the college game, but not everything, because again, it's a different environment, and you need to manage we need to manage the moment. We need to manage the situation. We need to manage the players and behavior, which is a lot different than what you do at your other job, right? With the other hat, which is a pro game, an MLS game, where you're dealing with professional players and somewhat they should know what not to do.
Right.
While here, it's a little bit different. Right.
And again, know what you're getting into, guys. Right. I mean, if this is a D3 or NAIA, whatever the case might be, those games you work harder. I mean, that's what it is, and that's the nature of the beast, right? And your guard should be up. You have one red card, don't turn your back. Very similar to the World Cup headbutt, right? That we saw. I mean, it's about to get, except Horacio had it was backpedaling versus running upfield, so.
Yeah, it was a bit different, but still, it does happen in our games, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to show this. And I don't want to scare anybody about being assaulted, because this is not what happens all the time. This happens once in a blue moon. But the key here is to be expecting the unexpected. Don't just think because you're in a college environment that everything's going to be secure, everything's going to be nice. And the other key point that I really want to make, and with your help, I think we achieved that, is to when you manage the situations, they need to be managed individually. I'll bet the same 3 clips in different games, they need to be managed differently. So each game is different. So you need to prepare yourself for each game. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chico.
Absolutely. And again, guys, so many things have happened, in this game from the 3 clips that we've seen, right? So, this is where you have to be thinking, anything could happen, I mean, who knows? This player could be his last game, right? And then he's leaving campus, whatever. So we don't know the behavior. We don't know what they're capable of. Obviously, a red card did not change the behavior. It made it worse, right? So like Richard said, this doesn't happen all the time, but it happens. And my friend Bill Didmar made a presentation when he said, we remember the games that went to crap, in essence, right? So, and this is probably one of those where he's probably going to learn more than the games, that other 300 games that go well. So, unfortunately.
All right. So just for closing, just reviewing some of the things you said. These are student athletes, so they need to be managed differently, and that's the key point, right?
Yes.
And like you said, they don't care about who you are. If you referee the 2006 World Cup or you referee the MLS Cup, right now this is my World Cup, my Division III, first game of the season. It is my World Cup, and I don't care who you are. I just want you to referee my game and take care of me.
Yes.
Right. And the same goes for the coaches, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. So they prepare differently, So, and again, this is so important for them, guys. So again, this could be your 300 college game, but this is only their first start for some of them. So
we never about the game. That's a big one. Be humble. Just as humble as Rodolfo is. Rodolfo is such a humble human being. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And you just need to be humble. You need to be human. Show your human side, and you're never gonna go wrong, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, own it. We cannot go for 90 minutes saying, sorry, I missed that. Sorry, I missed that, right? Because eventually that's no longer effective. But if you made a mistake, it's okay, guys. You know what? I missed it, guys. You know what? I'll pay more attention. I'll get in a better angle. So.
And have fun. That's important.
Yes.
As a crew, you need to have fun.
Yes.
Right? As a way to keep focus and keep concentrating. Have fun while doing the right thing. Not making fun of the teams, put it that way.
If I may,
yes, go ahead.
Things that Rodolfo said, yesterday, that he wishes he enjoyed the atmosphere more, right? Because they were so concentrated in that game. And I think the same goes for us, guys. I mean, I have not stepped on the pitch for over a year, and I'm dying to get, to feel the grass, to feel the ball roll, and so on, and enjoy it, right? I mean, because you never know. I mean, I did not know that my last game was going to be in 2018, right? In the fall of 2018, because then after that I've been hurt since. So please, go home, have go to the games, have fun, enjoy, because we do it for the love of the game, not the money, right? So.
Oh, the money is not good enough. That's for sure.
Right.
We're going to be taking some questions in just a little bit. A couple of more points here that I really want to make, and obviously one of them is not about you. It's about the game. Even though sometimes we do need to take over the game, and don't be afraid. I think that the 3 clips that we just showed, those are type of games that you actually need to own it. It has to be your game, like it or not.
Yes.
Right.
Just like.
And we don't want to do that.
That we saw. I mean, that was a tough decision, not a very popular decision, but sometimes you have to, be the sheriff that, sometimes we have to be, and get all the attention to you so the players can go back and play and enjoy the game.
Great. This one. All right. People shouldn't talk about you. If people are talking about you, you need to review your game.
You know, I said those words when I did an interview on the right before the MLS Cup when I was the referee, and I think it was MLS reporter, whatever it was. You know, since what do you expect? What do you want the next day? And I still remember vividly. I said, you know, if they're talking about, you know, the excitement of the game, whatever it was, anything but the referees, I'm going to be really, really happy with my performance. And I think ever since, you know, I was thinking that, you know, it's like if I leave the institution, you know, where the players shook hands, whoever won, I don't care, and I'm not, oh my God, I could have done this, I should have done that, then you did a really, really good job, guys, okay? Always remember that. On the way home, I'm like, you know, I feel really good about myself because nobody's talking about me.
And that is so truthful. And for people that haven't worked with you, you're actually a talker. During the game. During the game, we actually have a good time when working with you.
Yes.
Ooh,
at Rutgers.
Yeah. That was fun, though. All right, so we're gonna take a couple of questions because we're running into overtime, and a lot of people want to go do other stuff. They're gonna blame me. Oh, we went overtime. Say, well, listen, the best stuff happened during overtime, doesn't it? So let's get a couple of questions in. Let's see. Still waiting for Aaron to put his microphone on. We'll see what happens. Let's see if we can get somebody else here. Let's get Esad. Let's see if we can get Esad here. Esad, how are you?
Doing good. How are you guys?
Good. You want to remind everybody where you're from?
Yeah, I'm Asad Amanovich. I'm from Iowa. I represent RWISOA.
Very good. And your question for Chico is?
Chico, thank you for your time and the advice you've given to us. My question is in regarding to game day preparedness. How does it change for you between a game that is projected to be a more difficult game? We all know those games where you're going into it like, this is going to be a lot harder than a typical game. I'm actually going to have to work more to maintain control. How does your game day preparedness change, or does it change?
Well, I don't like to say, you know, prejudge the teams, coaches, players, right? You know, but, you know, there's got to be some sort of a level of awareness. You know, do your homework. You know, like I said, you know, earlier, you know, there are so many different avenues that you can get information about the teams and what worked for another referee. So I have that in mind. However, sometimes on any given day, the players behave and they don't give you any problems, right? But it could be the other player that never gives you problems, and then this time, you know, out of nowhere, we have situations where the clips that we saw earlier, right? I'll give you one player that, you know, Kyle Beckerman, right? I hate to bring names, but this is one of the games when you go in and you're like, oh my God, I have to deal with Kyle Beckerman. But there are games where he just doesn't even say boo. For whatever reason, he slept well, he's thinking of something else, he decides to be a nice guy for that, I don't know. But I mean, it doesn't mean that I'm going to take it any lighter, right? So I'm going to go and prepare for Kyle Beckerman and any other situation that might arise for that game. So every game is so different, guys. It's a fingerprint, right?
Yep, absolutely. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Good question. I think they're shy today. So
I just took the mic away from you because you're driving me nuts. We have a question from Sean now. Let's see if we can find him here. And while I'm looking for him, We had a referee here saying something about the 3 clips that happened in the second half, and yes, I know what game that was. I just simply don't want to talk about the game. That's what I said. Let's assume the first clip was part of the first half. So I really don't like to, put referees on the spot. I don't. This is not what we're here for.
Right.
So that's why I didn't mention that. So here's Sean, and he has a question about communication during the game, other than talking a lot. Hi, John. How are you? Is Sean there? Oh, Mike shy. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Don't be shy. So I'll ask the question. So he wants to know if you have some tips on doing the pregame and how to encourage your ARs, or if you're an AR, how you encourage your referee to keep eye contact throughout the game and the nonverbals, flowing nonverbals throughout the game. So you guys keep sharing information back and forth throughout the game.
Good question, right? Because, well, first of all, I mean, with this day of technology, it seems like more and more you have, at the college game, you have communication systems, right? So much easier if you have them. However, if you don't, if you go old school, so then, that's something you need to address at the pregame. If you're the AR, just ask the referee, hey, I've never worked with you. Can you give me some sort of signal at any stoppage, or sometimes during play when nothing's happening, can you tell me that everything's going well? Am I doing a good job? Something, right? It's okay. I mean, if you never worked with this referee and at the college ranks, so many times you go to a venue, you've never worked with that crew, so it's okay to ask questions. Don't be shy. I probably one of the referees that empower my crew, and sometimes a little too much. But I feel that if I don't bring that sense of comfort to our crew, whether if it's the first time that I met you, I hope that when I leave, and you can say, Chico made me feel really comfortable. And that starts in the locker room. That starts in the parking lot, whatever that is, right? So you go in, you shake hands, and you just make your crew feel like you've worked 500 games together. So, and again, probably one of the best referees that does that is Kevin Stott. It's just no matter what, he's not going to get mad at you. And I think for the experienced referees, go in and just empower your ARs to jump in and feel part of the crew. But
and actually that begins earlier. Once you get the assignments and your first communication,
right.
If you're humble and you open up right from the first contact, from the first email, it makes everybody. It makes it easier for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those the young referees that are, don't be shy, really. If you have a Nima Sagafi that comes in here, if you got a Chris Pencil, please, right? Ask questions. They're not gonna bite your head off, right? Don't feel intimidated because Robert Sabiga is in the game. It's like, no, it's okay. We're humans, right?
All right, great. We have a lot of more questions, but it's time for us to go. So we're gonna leave with one more, and just gonna put you on the spot. And that would be dealing with coaches.
Okay.
Right. So the question was that was asked for. It goes pretty much this way: if you had a coach in the past that you had a situation with, and now you see the same team coming up in your schedule, how do you prepare yourself to manage that coach, and do you do anything different than you would in any other given game?
That's a good question. I think it goes back to you drawing that line in the sand, and if you let that coach the first time that you guys have problems, just take over on the touchlines, right? And I'm speaking from experience. I think the second time is probably going to be more of the same, or you put that coach in his place, regardless of who he is, and he's going to respect you from then on. All right. So again, it's my personal experience. You might not be his favorite referee, but if he knows that you're not going to put up with it, he's going to respect you. Right. It might not be easy and it's going to be very uncomfortable, but at the end of the day, I think he's going to shake your hand and respect you for the decisions, and being able to withstand, I guess, your decisions right through the game. So
and be human.
I don't want to say coaches' names or whatever, right? But it's it has happened to me, and I think I earned a lot of respect from that coach. And he's retired now, but I think in his last years he realized that it's like I don't like Chico and I don't think Chico likes me, but we're gonna get along and he's gonna referee and I'm gonna coach, and that's the end of it.
And you know what? The reason why he came up with that decision is because of your reputation. That's a reputation that you've been building up. It's not something that was given to you, but your hard work. And so we really appreciate the fact that, again, just like Rodolfo and everybody else today, especially you, that you were here all along, over 2 hours. Thank you, Chico, for doing this for everybody. Thank you for coming.
And thank you for everyone, remotely. So thank you guys, because I know this is, again, it's a testament of you guys investing in yourselves. So thank you.
No, thank you. And we got to get you back for an asado. You know what I mean? Just with Rodolfo, we got to have an asado here.
Claro.
So we have to. So before we go, let's talk about next week, because we have a change for next week. Tomorrow, next week, gonna be on May 1st. We're gonna be having a presentation on focus and concentration. Chico, you're more than welcome to come in if you're not doing anything, if you're bored. We're doing a clinic on focus and concentration. That's a big topic, and Lance is going to help with that. But we're also going to have Carol Ann, and I'm so bad with last names. How do you pronounce her last name? Is it Chenard? Did I do that right?
It's Frances, so
it's Frances, so I don't know. I apologize. Who knows what I'm saying? But she's a FIFA referee, Canadian FIFA referee,
very nice.
A great referee,
yes,
very nice lady. She was actually she refereed the Women's Olympics back in 2016, and she was also at the 2012 Olympics, and she was unfortunate. She was sick, so she wasn't able to make the last year's Women's World Cup, but she's doing great, and she's coming for a few minutes to say hello to everybody and share her experiences with us. And so it's going to be nice. Plus, we have I forgot. I should have known, because they're going to be giving away stuff. Ref 6, does that sound right? Ref 6. It's a software where you keep track of your red cards and your yellow cards and everything in your watch, and then you can download it and everything else. So they're gonna be. Is that Ref 6, right? Is that what it is? I should know. I'm so bad.
Again, I'm old, so you can.
Me too. Me too. But everybody loves it, so they're gonna come in. They're gonna give us some free stuff for everybody. So it's gonna be great. And that's going to be on the 1st. On the 8th, I just want to review real quick. On the 8th, we're going to be doing violent conduct versus fighting. But Ryan is going to do that, and Corey Rockwell is going to be doing a different presentation as well on that day. Then on the 15th, we have Ese Bahamas. He's going to come in to talk a little bit about the famous 1998 World Cup decision between Norway and Brazil. And Chris Spencer is actually going to run a whole clinic on angle of view versus distance. And then we have on the 22nd, mental preparedness and readiness. That's going to be done with Donald Wilberg. You know Don,
Yes.
a great person, great mentor. Is going to be talking about mind traps and how to deal with what we're dealing with all this crisis and to get better for the college season. And then we're going to have the crew from the 2018 UEFA Champions League final coming in to give us a presentation of their mental preparation and readiness for that final, which was Real Madrid-Liverpool. What a final.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then the 29th, we have Mark coming back, Mark Cahan. We're going to be doing handling and handball, and, you know, that's the question, to be or not to be. And we have some other people coming in. So thank you, everybody. I know we went over time like we always do. I apologize. Thank you, Chico. Again, thank you very much. And hopefully this crisis is going to go away, and we're going to open up soon, because we need to be out there. We miss soccer, don't we?
Absolutely. Yeah.
We all do. So thank you, everybody. Chico, have a good one.
Good night.
I owe you a big asado.
Claro, claro. Un abrazo.
Thank you, guys.